On this episode of China Uncensored, what's a pope gotta do to get some respect in China? Welcome back to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. In China, if you want to be Catholic, you have two options. Belong to the official Chinese Patriotic Catholic Association, which is under the supervision of the atheist Communist Party, or worship at an underground church, where priests and even worshippers can be arrested and persecuted. The Communist Party has never recognized the Vatican's authority over Catholicism in China, and vice versa. And China's 10 million Catholics are caught in the middle. The Vatican has made attempts in the past to work out some of these issues. Like back in 2007, Pope Benedict XVI said that loyal Catholics could worship in state-backed churches. But now, Pope Francis is looking to make a deal with Chinese leaders on the most hotly contested issue: who gets to appoint Chinese bishops? I went to Washington, D.C. to sit down with human rights activist Benidict Roджърс. He works for Christian Solidarity Worldwide, which works for freedom of religion and belief for everyone. Ms. Roджърс, thank you for joining us again today.
My pleasure. Great to be with you.
So, I'd like to talk a little bit about the situation for Catholics inside China. Please tell me about it.
Well, historically, ever since 1949, the Church has been essentially divided between underground Catholics who have remained faithful to Rome, to the Pope, to the Vatican, and an official Catholic Church that is under the control of the Communist Party.
Well, recently, Pope Francis has been trying to strike a deal with the Chinese Communist Party, which ties into all this. Can you tell us a bit about that?
His goal is to try to unify the Church in China and have the whole Church in communion with Rome. The compromises that I think are being made, and we'll have to wait and see the details of the exact deal that they end up with, but so far I'm extremely concerned about the way things are going. We've seen courageous underground bishops being asked to step down in favor of Communist Party approved bishops.
Well, I don't know. The state-approved bishops don't sound too bad to me. I mean, of the 7 Pope Francis looked at, only 2 had mistresses, and only 1 was excommunicated. So.
Well, I suppose, yes, maybe looking at the Church worldwide, statistically, perhaps that's not such a bad rate. But no, it's very concerning the way things are going.
Yeah. Well, tell us a bit about your work with Christian rights in China.
Well, it's important to say that my work is not just on Christian rights. I work for freedom of religion or belief, as set out in Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, for everybody. So I work very actively with people of other faiths, Uyghur Muslims, Tibetan Buddhists, Falun Gong, and others. But in terms of Christians, we've certainly seen a severe increase in repression in recent months. We've seen the destruction of churches, the destruction of crosses, new regulations just introduced controlling religious practice. And I think that's one of the troubling things about the Vatican's, not just the substance of what the Vatican is doing, but the timing of it. To be striking a deal at the time when actually regulations and physical repression are intensifying seems very wrong to me.
What might this Vatican-China deal mean for Taiwan?
Well, that's incredibly serious. I find it very hard to imagine that Beijing would accept a deal that didn't involve changing diplomatic recognition from Taiwan to Beijing. And I think that would be devastating.
Well, so if you were the Pope, what would you do about the Catholic situation in China?
I would be insisting on an arrangement that has the Church outside the control of the government, has the appointment of bishops coming from the Pope alone, and an arrangement that does not in any way affect relations with Taiwan.
Mm-hmm. So China has many beliefs and religions. If I lived in China, what religion should I choose to not be persecuted?
I think you'd have to be of no religion, because even if you choose a religion that is within the official structures, even they have come under pressure in recent years. Official Protestant, and I think Catholic as well, but certainly Protestant churches have had crosses torn down in recent years. So you'd be best off as an atheist.
Okay. And so what religion should I definitely not choose?
Well, again, I think all of the religions face varying degrees of persecution, but it's clear that the one belief system that seems to be the target of most hatred is Falun Gong. So if you want to be sure of condemnation and persecution, that would be the belief system you practice. But really, if you're an underground Christian, if you're a Uyghur Muslim or a Tibetan Buddhist, you're in for a hard time as well.
Thank you very much for joining us today. That was a pleasure.
Thank you.
I know, you watch China Uncensored because you're hungry for knowledge. But I also know you get hungry for food. Well, now you can take care of both. Thrive Life delivers ready-to-go meals with gluten-free, organic, and GMO-free options to your doorstep. But it's freeze-dried, so it won't go bad. And if you order through the link below, Thrive Life gives us a commission. So help support the show that feeds your knowledge by feeding your belly. Click the link in the description below.